time home buyer presentation. It's super effective. It's goofy. Like if you watch it, he's kind of a goofy guy. He's a great kid. He's a really good guy. But his presentation is kind of goofy, but it doesn't have to be. Everybody thinks that these presentations have to be amazing, and everything. No, actually they don't have to be amazing. You just have to do them, and they have to be, you have to come across as somebody who's knowledgeable and confident. And he certainly does that really well. So I'll be sharing those. The point of this is getting out there and getting in front of people consistently. That's the difference, right? Because it's a challenging market, and the more out there you are, the more opportunities that are going to come your way. So that's it. So what I want to talk about today quickly, and then I want to jump to Giuseppe because he has to leave at 9:30, but I want to talk about the CRM. I'm doing check-ins with everybody, and I'm really digging in to the activity that I'm seeing on the CRM and what everybody's using, how everybody's using it. And especially when you're newer, it's one of those tools that, among a million other things that you're learning how to do when you first get in this business, it's a challenging thing to leverage and master, but leverage and master it you must. And so a couple of things that I'm just going to reminder is that if it's not in Salesforce, it didn't happen. I'm seeing a lot of things that aren't being recorded that need to be recorded. You've got to double down on that, and you've got to just, decide everything is going to go in that system, because when it comes time for you to leverage, first of all, leveraging operations, the information that they can't see is the information they don't know, and they have to bug you to get, right? So just remember that if you've memorialized it in your CRM, that saves, it's just a massive time saver. And again, it just comes down to leveraging the tool. And if you haven't connected the Einstein app so that your emails are getting recorded, obviously get that done. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, raise your hand and send me an email, and I'll get you connected to whoever you need to be connected with. But the key is recording everything that you do every day, recording every conversation. It's just, and the people who use this tool that do the most volume do that. Everything is in that system because that's the tool that they use to run their business, right? So they don't have to remember anything anymore because it's all there. You can't remember everything that you have to do in this business. You just can't at any level of volume. And that's where all the overwhelm really comes from, is you're trying to juggle too many things. And so just the last thing that I will tell you is, and this isn't something that most people really do a good job with, some of us do, but most of us don't, is that those tasks that you have in your task list every day, that they're in there for a reason. And what's going to happen is you're going to lose business. The way you're going to lose business is you're going to decide to call somebody that you should have called 2 months ago, and they're going to tell you how they closed last week or they're closing next week, and you didn't get the deal. And that's what's going to happen. It's happened to me. It's happened to all the people that have done this for an extended period of time. And the only reason it happens is because you didn't stay in touch, right? So the more, as I meet with you guys, we're going to look into all of the ways that you can take advantage of that. And as I've had these discussions, a few of the discussions with some of the loan officers this week doing check-ins, one of the things that came up was, what are some of the best ways to touch your realtors that you're either targeting or that you're already partnering with? And so I've asked some people today to share some of the things that they do to stay in touch, because we don't do, the core coaching program is call 40 realtors every Monday and ask them how their weekend was and if they have anybody that they need to follow up on. And I don't think that's something that I would ever want to do. You could certainly do it and it would be effective and you'd get business doing it. But it's obnoxious, and I find it obnoxious and annoying. It works. The reason it works is because you're touching a realtor every freaking day. It's a grinding approach to prospecting activity, but I feel like there's a more value-added way to do that. And that's what I asked some of the loan officers, what they do to touch their realtors consistently and add value to stay in touch. And so we're going to start with Giuseppe because he's got to jump at 9:30. Go ahead, bud.
All right. So as far as realtors, and this is kind of constantly evolving, but I was watching some mortgage coach video like a year and a half ago from Denise Donahue that said she did like this Friday tip email to her realtors. So I started doing that, and that's been well received.
What is it called? A Friday what?
Like a Friday tip email.
Okay.
So
Tips, okay.
that you see that's, when I started, right, it was appraisal gaps and how to structure those and whatever it may be, how to, all weave in some of our unique things, right? Like, we can close in 10 days or whatever, stuff that you have to keep saying over and over and over, because like even people that you work with a lot sometimes forget that you can waive your loan availability deadline, or you can reach out to us and we can run AUS before you make an offer to see if you can get a PIW on a property.
I love that idea. Take notes, everybody. As you're listening to these ideas, just make sure you're taking notes so that you can decide what you're going to implement. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So all kinds of things like that, right? To help them, essentially, things that we're seeing as challenges that, you know, you can do all kinds of videos based on Barry stuff, right? So if you're having clients that are, you know, concerned about values dropping during a recession, right? He just had this tidbit on this last recording I saw of him that was, it's probably going to be my Friday tip, if not today, next week, but that, you know, why do homes do so well in recessions, except for 2008? They do well because in a recession, he says 1%, but I Googled it, it's more like 2%. So I just say 1 to 2% of the working population is going to lose their jobs during a recession. So like that sucks. That could be 1.5 to 3 million people. But for every 1% drop in interest rates, 5 million more buyers are able to qualify to buy a home. So because rates drop during a recession, it more than overcompensates for the people who have lost their jobs and now have exited the buyer pool. So that's good information for them to share, right? Because you know they're getting that question. So that's just a typical one. So I've been doing those. I do them out of BombBomb. I have a list. Just did a massive upload back then of all the realtors, and then now at the end of the month, I just pull a report of all the new realtors I entered in the Salesforce, and I add them to that list. So I know they're getting that all the time. It seems like about 500-600 people get it, and like 25% open it, 20% open it. So it's a pretty good open rate. Not all of them.
Really good open rate. Shit.
I think, you know, important to keep those short. So I do that. And then I started doing, I think Chris probably mentioned this a few years ago when I realized that like, I never really called any realtors. I just waited for them to call me. So there's a lot of tasks today because I was out last week. I asked Haley to spread them out, and I guess she thought that meant like 30 each day or something. But so I have, you know, Kristen Spadnoletti, right, as a realtor. So if I click on her record, so I'm going to get these caught up today or over the weekend. But so she's, you know, I have her as platinum, and I have this maybe set up different than how other people do. So platinum are the people that I work with a lot. Golds are people that sometimes refer me, and silver and bronze. Actually, this is a perfect form. If you have a realtor that you're, you know, you send me an email like, hey, they're under your name. If the marketing tag is nothing, bronze or silver, you can just automatically ask Ashley to transfer them over, because that just means it was someone that was like the listing agent on a transaction, and nothing's ever happened from that. The only ones I'm really targeting are Target, Platinum, and Golds. So anyways, I just created a task. This is I think a Chris Haber thing, like nothing complicated. So with my Platinums, if I don't talk to them, I'm meeting with her next week, I think. But if I don't talk to them, I want to talk to them. I want a reminder every 2 weeks to talk to them, right? So something happens, I send out an email, I left a voicemail, whatever it may be, and then I just move out the task 2 weeks, and that's it. Targets, same thing. So these is a group that I did a home buyer or a lunch and learn. So I'm trying to like, they're not once a month or anything like that. I'm trying to stay in front of them more often, so they're always on my radar. And then I have some other agents that are good agents. We've worked together, but they do a lot of business, and I haven't gotten an opportunity to meet with them yet. And so we've had conversations, and so maybe I'll just do like a monthly check-in, right?
I want to point something out here. I want to point something out. See the notes where he's got the buyer agent for Kellen and Kelly Scholl, about 28 buyers a year, 20 listings, been working on her since the fall of 2021. Her husband's name is Garrett. Their anniversary is September 8th. This shit matters that he knows that, because it's going to come up. You can't remember this kind of stuff. You can go like, oh yeah, they're a good agent. But if you don't, this is just a really good example of memorializing information that's going to matter to you at some point. Not doing that and just trying to keep it in your head is a giant mistake, right? So just, again, make it simple for yourself to do the work. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, and then, like this is that Einstein thing. Does everybody have that?
Yeah.
Einstein capture? Okay.
Yeah. I just don't know if everybody's turned it on.
Okay. Yeah. So this is where, my Friday tip email went out that talked about whatever. I don't have to make any notes in here. It automatically logs in here that it went out. And then she replied and, just said, thanks so much for the info. It's like, cool. She replied. And so just passing out, this was
That's
like,
called prospecting, everyone. Just that's a prospecting event right there. So
yeah, so that's realtors. Got my VIPs, realtors, even though she's not anymore, but I have to change that heading. So just a bunch of check-in tasks, and then I have obviously some expired pre-approvals I need to work on when I have a minute to breathe. And I also do the same thing for clients that are on hold. Okay, so I just call the task on hold check-in. So Christopher Holt, using Salesforce was really confusing to me for a couple of years and our team. So sometimes like opportunities, like this guy's pre-approval expired, but he still wants to buy. So I didn't want to keep him as pre-approved as searching for property. And I didn't want to close the opportunity or else you have to like start over every time. And so I just moved him to on hold and then moved out on hold check-in based on however the conversation goes. If he signed a 1-year lease, I might check in 3 months and then in 3 months and then in 3 months. And then by keeping the opportunity open, you can do your status updates right here. So I talked to him a month ago, almost at January 19th. He's got a girlfriend now, not sure how it's going to play out with the house hunt. Told him rates were moving lower. I get to give him the opposite message. And when you label it here, when you can only do about 3 sentences or so, there's not endless space. It makes a note here that you did that and also shows up in your chatter. So you could technically go here and just see like that status update showed up here and see all your communication history with that client. And then whenever I talk to him, obviously, yeah, he's on the list. So he's going to be coming up here in the next few days. And then I'll just, based on how that conversation goes, I'll move it out and maybe they broke up and he wants to buy again. I don't know.
who was he referred by? You don't have a referred by, so is that a past client?
No, I do. Well, where would that be? Should be here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in like.
So is Nicole a realtor?
Yeah.
Okay, so how are you communicating with Nicole after you do these, or is that part of your process?
There's communication in here. So that he was looking at a new build in November and, we were going back and forth about numbers. Then he decided not to do that. And then he's got a girlfriend. So I'll probably update her and that could be, a touch for her, unless I have something important to talk to her about. And,
right on.
And that's it. So then, so as Chris will say the same thing, it's a great feeling of satisfaction when you get to the end of the day and this 48 is down to 0 or 1 or 2 things that you move out and that's it.
Right on. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. I know you got to go. So that was great stuff, dude. Thank you very much. Chris, I know that we were talking about this. Were you going to say something? Sorry.
No, I was going to say, but I want to hear what everyone else has to say.
Okay. I thought you had to go. We're going to this is recording.
All right.
Chris, go ahead. Cause we were talking about this yesterday and some of the things that you were talking, I know it's going to be a little bit different conversation, just different things that you use to touch realtors that you've targeted, that you've had a meeting with. And now how do you continue the follow-up to develop the relationship and get an opportunity to come your way?
I'm pretty similar to G, but yeah, I do the bronze. No, I'm silver, gold, platinum. I don't think I put anyone in bronze. And then thanks to Christine, all new real. I feel like we all struggle with this. I didn't have I don't have like a new realtor, listing agent or buyer's agent like follow-up sequence. So Christine helped me, kind of told me what she does, and I do a little, mimic it. So I had Pavle do a sequence for me as soon as we get a contract. I put a realtor as new purchase contract. Oh, let me share my screen. Sorry. So I was going to start with that first, because I know we all struggle with how do I get a meeting after I close, right? So I'm like G2. I have a ton of tasks every single day, and that's the goal, is to complete those and follow up with people and prospect and all that fun stuff. So yeah, Leona Hunter here was just added the other day. I got to get Jonathan and Annie to do a better job, because I'm like, what file is this? What contract is it? Obviously I can find it right here, but yeah, I need them to do that a little bit better on the description part. But the sequence is 4. So as soon as you get under contract, send them a nice letter. I think, what is it next, Christina? Book halfway through. Obviously you're contacting the realtor. I got to do a better job of this now that we're not through COVID and I have time, but contact the agent several times during the process, appraisal, initial approval, final approval, funding, wire's been sent. So those are the 4 things you should probably call on, along with the initial contract check in, and then you ask for a review. So I literally just started this. I haven't had too many contracts this year, so I haven't gotten there yet, but that's new purchase contract. So I don't know if that works for all of you guys, but you might want to look into doing that and have Pavle do it, because it's just, you get a task and it's a sequence every week, I think it is. So I think some closings might be faster than others, but that's what I'm doing for new realtors. And then if I like them, I meet them, then I'll move them into platinum or gold. I'll look at their stats, see if they're worth following up with. Does that sound good so far, Dave?
So far, so good. Yeah. Give me
Okay.
an idea of, because we were talking at breakfast, I don't know if it was yesterday, we were having breakfast yesterday. We talked about trauma-centered stories, sharing a story about something that you just did that saved a deal, or a total cost analysis. So here's an example of the way that we're using. So I'm talking about just, you've got to, because you do need to stay in regular communication with people if you're trying to establish a relationship. And the only way to do that, I love Giuseppe's the Friday tips. That's a great, and he's sending out something. Are you doing it every Friday, Giuseppe? Every single Friday, there's a video message going out, right? Where he's trying to I'm just trying to add value. That's all this is I'm trying to add value. He's got 500 or 600 realtors getting that email from him every Friday. So that seems like an extreme amount to some people, I would guess, but here's the advantage. If one of those agents ever gets an offer from a buyer who the lender is Giuseppe, they're going to go oh, I know who that guy is. Whether they've ever used him or not, they're like, oh, well, I know who that guy is. I'll probably get there. And that is there's a powerful reason why you'd want to continue to do that and stay in front of people. But Chris, what are the other kinds of value added? That's what I'm looking for.
Well,
obviously, I know I said trauma center and I said total cost analysis opportunities, but.
Well, on another note, I agree with that, because Andrew Gallegos, his neighbor, became a realtor like 2 years ago, and he's like, dude, I don't want to work with this guy. He's my neighbor. If shit goes bad, that's going to be real bad. So he sent me this guy. I met with him once, haven't got any referrals from him. And then my top agent, Jackie, we just got under contract, I guess, last night, and he's listing agent. He's like, oh, I know Chris. Yeah, great. And so yeah. So it helps, really, and you'll see a lot of listing agents over and over again. So if you just stay in touch with them, they're like, oh, I know Chris, yeah, good guy, we'll close on time, let's accept that offer, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. So, but as far as following up with people, I do my A realtors, which are like my top 10 on the first Friday of every month, not this Friday, like the first full Friday, so it'll be next Friday. And then I have B's the next Friday, and then I split my C's and prospect realtors the third and fourth Friday. So I don't do a every Friday thing like G. I probably should. That sounds really good. But I really just figure out at the beginning of the month, I'll just write a script. Either it's a text, an email, or phone call. Usually it's a text followed by a phone call, but something about the market, something about that Barry Habib said that was good, a screenshot, anything. I think a couple months ago I did this one. Life events aren't changing. I found this, I think it was on the Mortgage Coach Productivity Facebook group. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, it's a good message to send to people. Like, existing home sales year over year are down, but like people are still, there is going to be pent up demand. Like, we got to stay in front of people. We got to get, you realtor need to stay in front of your clients. You need to call your past clients like I'm doing to figure out if they're going to sell in the next couple of years.
So I love what you just said. So you'll send this out as a text or a chat or something, a video message or an email.
This one I texted.
And then you'll follow up with a call.
Yeah. So I texted, I was like, yeah, life events are changing. Like, people are still having their second kid, their third kid, getting divorced, move up, move down, new job, whatever, like, right? So like, I was like, I'm calling all my past clients that closed before 2019. You should too. That's all I said. So hopefully they remember, like, oh yeah, that Chris guy told me to do that, and I got some business out of it. So I think my one this month's going to be my HomeBot thing about Marty, right? So I'm gonna call my realtors, like, are you using HomeBot or not? No. Well, you probably should, and here's why. So it's just one. It doesn't have to be complicated. I think people get a little like, what do I have to say? It's like anything. I don't know. Like, just if you have Barry Habib, just like you have like a whole week of stuff to like talk about. Tons of stuff. So I wish I could share videos.
You just have to say something. And that's really, maybe that's the point of this, is that you can't say nothing. You can't do nothing. Right. And so if you're trying to build a relationship, you've got to stay in front of them consistently, because what every realtor will tell you is, yeah, loan officers, they bug me, and then they leave me alone, and I never hear from them again. And I knew that's how they'd be. And the people that you get business from are the people that persistently they're persistent. They never stop trying to add value and create a relationship. Were you going to show something else?
Yeah. So to Vivi, I don't know if you guys know who this chick is, but I think I followed up with her for like 7 years now. So I'm not going to stop, obviously, because I'm like, I'm competitive. So I'm like, fuck that guy. She sucks. He sucks. I'm just going to keep doing it. So sorry. Anyway, but yeah, I just keep texting her. And sometimes it's like, I don't know what to, I'm busy. And it was around Christmas time. I'm like, hey, happy Christmas. Have a good time with your family. And that's it. Like, it's just, you're just staying in touch. That's all I do. I don't overcomplicate it. That's it.
That's awesome. I love that.
Right on. Do you have a question or something?
No. Yeah, I have a question. So when you say you text it, and also when you send out the emails, is that's your top of mind, or how do you send it?
No, I'll be a little archaic because I don't want to do a big blast and make it seem like it's like sent to everyone. So I'll personally just copy and then send her an email. I mean, I have the template, so it takes like 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Or text, I'll do that, and I'll text her, I did this, that was like, I think, I don't know, November or something like that. So.
Okay. So you're texting.
It's literally just something in the call. You're just like, all you want to do is just stay top of mind with them and send them something of value, something that they can maybe share with their clients or sellers or buyers or whatever.
Okay. And then the task, is that auto-populating, or is that like a setup thing through Pablo, or?
Oh yeah, just ask him. I had him set that up for me just so I wouldn't forget. I think Christine might have done the same too.
All right, thanks.
Maybe try it. It might automatically go work for you. I don't know if it's just for me, but.
Right on. Thank you, Chris. This is great. I asked Jacqueline, Christine, and Casey to also share. Which one of you guys wants to go next? Jack.
So I do a lot of the similar stuff that Giuseppe and Haber does. I'd say the best thing you can do is just categorizing agents, because that helps you figure out like what kind of a follow-up sequence they're going to be on. But I've also started doing those newsletters this year. And I do send those to my agents that are in platinum. I do use all of the categories. So I'm sending those to everybody except for the targets. And I'm getting response from agents. They'll like it, or they'll send me a picture of it or whatever. And then I've been doing these mastermind classes since like November, I think. And I have those booked out through August right now, but I'm just bringing in different professionals and just having it be a live lunch and learn. So I've had anywhere between 4 and 6 agents show up at those. But those have been really beneficial as far as like establishing relationships and things like that. So those are some of the main things that I do. And then I do something similar to Giuseppe, the Friday tips, but I send just like an update email every Saturday morning at like 8 a.m. because they'll usually read it at 8 a.m. So I have it goes through top of mind. And it just goes to all of my realtors. It's like 600 and some, but there's like a couple quick facts in there about what's going on in the market. And then I'll include a bomb video as well. Just kind of talking through some stuff depending on what's happened that week, if there's a book that I'm reading or whatever. So it's really just like, it's almost like a weekly newsletter, so to speak. And this past week, what I did, my coach has been encouraging me to do this for a while and I just haven't done it, but just coming up with a menu of services that we offer. And so I wrote out everything that we do, and it's like 16, 17 things from like pre-approvals that we do, those listing emails that we do, the guaranteed pre-approvals, the trauma center, quick closing timelines, having HomeBot, having escrow, having the Zenith studio and things like that. And just making sure your realtors know that, hey, I'm not just a pre-approval machine. Like I also do all of this other stuff. And so my thought is I'm going to turn that into a bunch of smaller videos just to kind of talk through each of the items that we have and have that push out. A lot of times I'll take whatever that video is that goes out on Saturdays and I'll rebroadcast it on social media just to try to get in front of more people and stuff like that. So that's some of the stuff I've been doing. And then on social media, some of the stuff I do on like Thursdays, because that's usually when realtors start posting listings, is I'll reshare all of those listings. And then sometimes I'll put together mortgage coach presentations for the agents as well and send them over and be like, hey, I saw this house. It's really nice. So I put together some presentations for you. And I'm starting to get responses from those listing emails from agents that I've never worked with that either want a meeting or suddenly have a listing that they want us to push out. So I think that consistency is finally starting to take root. And that's been like 8 weeks that we've been doing that. So it does take time for those newer agents that you've never done a deal with, for them to really like be like, okay, now I'll talk to you kind of thing.
Right on. Do you have any, I wish I would, Giuseppe, I would love to ask Giuseppe this question too. He's got so many realtors that are getting that information from him, those Friday tips. And I'm just curious for you, you're sending out a lot of things to a big group as well. Do you have any kind of a follow-up phone call scheduled for any of these people to just pick up the phone and go like, hey, just thought I'd check in. I haven't talked to you in a long time. I've been sending you that video. What's been going on? How's business?
The agents that are in like platinum, anybody who's in like silver, bronze, gold, platinum, those people I try to touch with an actual phone call like once a month. But the targets, those are still people, those are like, they were on one side or the other of a transaction, or I just know them somehow. And I'm trying to just at least get them to engage. Once I get them to engage, then I'll elevate them through the follow-up sequence and then, or the target, the categorizing sequence. And then that'll adjust where my follow-up and stuff is.
Right on. Right on. That's great. Thank you. It's 9:42. I don't like to keep this meeting going. I'd love to hear what Christine and Casey say. Do we want to save it till next week, or can we continue this conversation and we have more sharing going on, or do you want to do it now? I can keep going if you guys can. I just like to, you want to keep going?
Yeah, let's listen to Christine. I don't really care what Casey has to say.
Yeah, and that's fair. I was going to keep mine super short anyway, because what we're going to do is belabor what these guys are already saying.
Just kidding, Casey. Love you.
Also, thanks, Chris. I'll tell you this. One of the very first realtor meetings I ever had in the business was with one of the highest producing agents in Colorado. And the first thing he said was continue to follow up the agents that you're targeting, but bring something, even if it's the smallest little tidbit. So like it's the Friday tips where you're just bringing them one thing, right? You'll create relationships with the realtors that you're working with over time. But when you're prospecting them, bring them something. Don't call and ask for a lead. Don't do that. It's just, hey, here's a tip. Here's what's going on in the market, whether it's text, video. Those are the things that are going to get the people to engage. So the examples that Chris is giving in terms of all these little tidbits you get from the Facebook page or from Barry Habib, the tips that you can send out via BombBomb, and then what Jacqueline's doing. I mean, that's spot on, is bringing them real information that's valuable to what they're doing.
Thank you. Christine.
All right. I do several things, so I guess I'll share my screen here. Hold on. So anybody that's talked to me about prospecting knows that, can you guys see my screen okay? I'm not sure
Yep.
which one it's on. Sundays are kind of crucial for me in planning my week and who I'm going to reach out to. This is a form that I fill out every Sunday with people that I've talked to that week. If I have upcoming closings the next week, if I went under contract that week, I'll put these agents in here. Really anything I have going up for the next week and what I need to get out for the next week. And I'll give this sheet to Alyssa, and we actually do get to know you forms with every agent that I meet. So it's a Google sheet that they fill out. It's got 21 questions. What's your birthday? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite dessert? And we keep those on file so we can send those out, you know, when it's their birthday, when it's their anniversary. We keep track of their Facebook too. So if they had a dog die, if they had basically anything, we've got gifts for everybody's get to know you form in our basement. So whatever's coming up the following week, I look at my calendar, I put it in here with their name, what it's for, how much it costs. And Alyssa gets all this together and she comes and puts it upstairs on Monday and I send it out.
Right on.
If I have any lunch and learns, if I need, you know, cookies made or fudge or lunch ordered, really anything, I put it in there. And then, so I don't have to handwrite so many cards, I made templates for each type of thing, marketing that I'm sending out, and Alyssa handwrites these. And we actually just got a cry-cut machine. Have you guys heard of that?
No.
You can put like a regular pen or a crayon in it, and you can copy your handwriting so it looks like a Sharpie or anything else. So we got one of those and we started doing that, and we can actually put Zenith logos on everything as well. So that's how we're doing our cards. So we have one for basically everything. So if we go under contract, the listing agent gets a card and a koozie, and there's like a poem that goes with that, like just sit back and relax. This will be the easiest transaction of your life. And then I think 3 days after that, we ask them where we can leave a review for them. And then a week after that, I get a meeting. And then at that meeting, I do a partnership package thing where I ask them all of these questions, and it's more of more so like a coaching session. I really make them think about their business, where they want to be, and in that I think they find value in what I can offer them and helping them grow their business after that. And then after that meeting is where I do that Google form, that get to know you form, and then we send out a book after that. And then it's pretty smooth sailing from there.
You've really taken this, great job. You've really taken the idea of leveraging, and this is really smart, because an agent that you've done a transaction with, whether they were on the buy side or the sell side, is like the perfect agent to get business from in the future. And I love the intentionality behind this, because you're like, you're going to become my realtor because we're doing a deal together. It's kind of your approach, right? So
I very rarely talk about Zenith and everything that we have to offer, to be honest. And I always tell agents, honestly, every lender should be able to close fast and communicate well. And that's my opinion. And we do all of that. But here's what I do different. And that's what I'm going to shine a light on, because all that stuff is easy for us. So I don't spend a lot of time talking about, that's what every loan officer talks about. Oh, we can close quickly and we've got good underwriters and this and that. But what are you talking about that's different? Because everybody's out there talking about why their company is the best. So I'm taking more of like a coaching approach with these agents, and how I can help your business get better from a sales standpoint. And that's really been working for me. And then I do once a month, I do an EDU Zoom for all my agents. I usually have about 15 to 20 people show up to that. I do Monday market updates, which I have really good feedback on as well.
Is that
I
an
do a-
email or what's the Monday market update? What is that? Mortgage
Yeah,
market
so it's
update.
kind of it's a collection of all, like everything that's happened over the week. I save all the like MBS highway updates, all the surefire updates. I take a lot of time in reading those and pull out the best things and create just this awesome email, what's going on in the market, what to expect this week. And I get really good feedback on that too.
Right on. Right on.
And also, this is kind of redundant, but I think it's important to bring up, like, once you start getting so many agents in your pipeline, it's hard to keep track of those people. So you always, every Sunday, I'm taking people out of my list and putting people in my list. The people that I've kept reaching out to that I think I might not want to reach out to this person. So I'm keeping track of who's in Salesforce, what their tags are, so I know who I can market to, who my top agents are, and everything else.
This is great. This is great because the effort that you're putting into this, it does pay off. The point is that it isn't that complicated to come up with ideas and ways to stay in touch, but you have to be intentional about it. And again, you can't do nothing, right? You've got to figure out a way to stay in front of these people consistently and then give yourself an opportunity for a face-to-face meeting, because there's certainly I have plenty of stories where I never met with a realtor face-to-face and they send me leads. I have tons of those stories. Everybody who's been doing this for any length of time at all will probably be able to tell you a story like that, but it is the exception. It's not the rule, right? So you've got to decide that you're going to be very intentional about staying in front of these people, and the whole idea of staying in front of people is to get that face-to-face appointment and look for the opportunity to add value. What Christine's doing is like a whole nother level of adding value, right? You're trying to I want to talk to you about your business. And so I love that approach. It's definitely that intentionality creates a lot more opportunity down the road. This has been a great call, everybody. I really appreciate for everyone who shared. Thank you very much. Obviously, we record these, so going back and watching and taking notes from all of this is huge. And figuring out ways to leverage this stuff and that CRM. I mean, that's why I've kind of stopped at that chapter. I read the next chapter and there it's about social selling. It's like, yeah, okay, but the CRM, man, the CRM, using that tool and figuring out how to take advantage of what it does for you is just so freaking powerful. And the best producers do that. So that's what I want to keep focusing on for a while. So I'm not sure if we're going to read another chapter next week or not. I'll let you know. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate your time. Let's have an awesome rest of the day and close out the week strong, everyone. Thank you.